The meeting of the Board of Ellis County Commissioners will now come to order. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Bobby, if you could call the roll.
Commissioner Dean Hazelhorst,
Present.
Chair Butch Schleier,
Present.
Commissioner Neil Younger.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Okay. Order of business, any changes to the order of business? There's no executive sessions this evening. Prior minutes. Commissioners, did you review the minutes?
Everything looks good as always.
Okay. Minutes stand as submitted. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda items A through G.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. Issues from persons not on the order of business. Doesn't look like anything there. Introduction of new employees.
Good evening, Commissioners. Darren Myers, County Administrator. Tonight we have a couple different departments between the Sheriff's Office, appraisers, and our new Human Resources Department. So I'll go ahead and get started with Jackie Shoemaker, if she wants to come up. Her first meeting and our first couple weeks of work, but Jackie came through us from Lifetime Dental with Dr. Liz's office, and she is the new HR coordinator position, and she started on the 15th? 20th.
Yep.
Okay.
Great, well, welcome.
Thank you.
Are you enjoying things so far,
I
Jackie?
am. I really am.
Well, that's good.
I think we're giving her lots of ideas and things to check and double check on, and got her scrambling in all different directions, so.
Mhm.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you. Nice to meet you all.
Okay. Take care.
And then the sheriff has a couple employees.
Scott Brown, Ellis County Sheriff. But I've got a couple of employees, and we'll start with the ladies first. So some of you may recognize Shelley Grieve. She started last Monday, am I correct? Wednesday. I lose track too. So everybody's pretty familiar with her. She was born and raised in Ellis County and decided she wanted to come work for us, and we're excited to have her. So,
Welcome.
Welcome.
Jill?
and then here we have Darren Hunt. He comes from Nebraska. I believe he was brought here to attend Fort Hays State University. Is that correct? So Darren's family has been in law enforcement for a long time, and he decided that he wanted to give it a try here in Kansas, and so we're glad to have him also.
Yeah.
So,
Darren, which part of Nebraska did you come from?
The Kearney area.
Oh, okay. I'm familiar with that.
Did you happen to watch that game Saturday? Just curious.
Oh yeah, I did. It was a good game.
It was. Very good game, especially that second half.
Oh, yeah.
Well, welcome aboard, and
Yeah.
thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Welcome.
thank you, Commissioners.
And then our county appraiser.
Good evening, Commissioners. Lisa Ree, County Appraiser. I have with me this evening Michelle Jarmer. She started the second week of September, and she is an Appraiser 1 field position, and she brings with her about 8 years' experience in another small county in western Kansas, and we're lucky to have someone that has experience in our field. And so she has started working out in the office, doing data collection, and just kind of figuring out how we do things versus the way she used to, and she has really started running. So we're very happy to have her, very fortunate.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, welcome.
Welcome.
Okay, our next agenda item is a Fort Hays State University update. Tisa?
Good evening.
Evening.
Thank you so much for inviting me back. Hopefully it'll be good enough that I get another invitation in a few more months. I wanted to acknowledge city and county's efforts in helping us have a phenomenal Oktoberfest and homecoming. So thanks to so many people, sheriff's departments, police officers, public works, everybody that helped us have such a great experience. I thought you might be interested in our enrollment, so a quick report there. Our total enrollment this fall is 14,104 students. Last year was a record year for student graduation, and it was the fourth time in the last 5 years that we broke that record, which means we have a lot more seats to fill. So we are down a little bit, about 6% this year overall. On campus, our students are 3,807. Our freshman class is slightly up. Our international students are actually slightly up as well, with 110 international students representing 28 countries. Our transfer students are down, which we continue to work on that, and our retention number is down slightly. We went from 78% to 74%, but given the COVID environment, and that impacts online and on-campus students as well, full-time, first-time freshmen, we feel pretty good about where we are. And most importantly, we're really excited about moving forward because we really believe we're building up for a strong rebound. Online, we have 6,604 students. In our Kansas online students, we actually had an increase in serving Kansans, and we are serving all counties of the state of Kansas. Our international partners includes 3,693 students. The majority are China, but there are other countries involved as well. And part of our reduction in China has been because the Ministry of Education reduced our quota, so it's not something that we can control for. Again, we fully expect to rebound next year. Very excited about our 13-state regional tuition for on-campus students, trying to bring more people to the lovely state of Kansas, get them educated and employed in the state as well. On Friday, we will announce I'll be moving forward next week with the media tour that used to be a long-time tradition for Fort Hays State. I'll be making 20 stops throughout Kansas, eastern Colorado, and central Nebraska, bringing our message out. As our enrollment has decreased, that means that we'll have a revenue decrease, so we are actively managing our budget right now. We'll continue to operate or adjust our operating budget. But as you know, during the past year with the universities, several universities have had to do furloughs, layoffs. We have not been in the position to have to do any of that. We are continuing to do everything that we can to make sure that we take care of our people, which also helps our local economy as well. You may be interested, if you don't know, that for Ellis County, any students that come to Fort Hays that want to live in our residence hall, we actually give them an Ellis County discount of $2,000 per year, because we know it's very tempting to live at home. We also know that students that live in the residence hall tend to do better with both retention, getting involved on campus, and typically have better GPAs. So we do give a $2,000 reduction for anyone in Ellis County. The best thing about being back on campus is our students are so happy. You walk across campus and you talk, they smile, they're engaged, and they're involved. And finally, I thought I'd just give you a COVID update. Our campus cases, our latest numbers from Health and Wellness Services are looking good. Through September 24th, we have had 235 tests administered with a total of 9 positives. As a point of comparison, last year through September of 25th, we had 200 tests administered with a total of 102 positives, so drastically different. Similarly, through September 24th, we've seen a high of 3 students in isolation and 1 in quarantine and university-provided spaces, whereas last year we had a high of 17 students in isolation and 57 in quarantine. So drastically different. As you know, our face covering policy is regularly reviewed at this point. We are not requiring masks or face coverings, but if there are specific areas or classes where it's required, or that we're trying to protect students with disabilities or faculty or teaching that have concerns, they may ask students to wear masks in those specific classes. We also introduced a vaccine incentive program, which has been going very well. Through September 28, Over 1,500 students and 660 employees have participated in the program. Because it's been successful, we have extended that deadline from October 28th to October 31st. Our students are always smart and entrepreneurial, so I was really surprised to learn that a student said, yes, this is a great program. It's the best $500 I ever earned. So what do you mean $500? We'll only give them $400. Yes, but if you go to the pharmacy, they'll give you $50 for each shot. So they know their way around the system, and good for them. That's how we want them to be thinking. So with that, I'll stand for any questions.
Commissioners?
When you said transfers were down, is that student transfers? Is that what you're referring to?
Yes, like from the community colleges.
Oh, okay.
So as community colleges have had some enrollment challenges, that's less students to fill our pipeline.
Okay. I wasn't quite sure what that was. And on your 20-stop tour, you aren't stopping in Kearney when you're in Nebraska, are you?
I think we are. I'm not sure.
Better tread lightly.
Have to go back.
Tisa, is there any concern that with the virus situation we had last year, and there was a lot of online capabilities for the students, that many students just might remain online and won't come back to college or campus?
We're not finding that to be true. We have a robust on-campus program and a robust online program. But with some of the abilities, there have been students who've gotten sick, or even our student athletes when they're training, they're able to remote in and participating in the in-class experience. So that technology has been helpful for the in-class. So our classes are in-class or online, but again, if people have challenges, they have more options so that they don't get behind.
Sure.
And our faculty work really hard to keep students caught up as well when there's lots of things happening. So we're really thankful and grateful for the time that they put in to make sure our students can succeed.
Did you say you had 6,000 online students? Was it 6 or 3? 6?
It was 6,604.
And are them full-time students or just ones taking maybe a class or two?
It's a head count. So we're going to have, with a lot of adult learners, we will have a lot of part-time students in there.
Good, that's a great number.
Yeah, we've had a tremendous growth in serving online, especially in the state of Kansas. We've been really growing for many years, and that's great for our state.
Yeah, good job.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tisa.
Thank
I'd
you.
really like to thank you for coming and keeping us up to speed as a community. That really means a lot to me, and I'm sure it means a lot to
Thanks for
fellow
being here. You're
commissioners.
always welcome to come back.
Yes.
Well, thanks. I'm sure that Darren will get me coordinated in another few months, and we'll give you an update at that time. But in between meetings, please yell if you need anything. Thank you very much for your service.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate
You're
it.
welcome.
Thank you.
Also add another statistic that Tisa didn't mention, but our oldest is getting ready to he's looking at colleges, and he was looking at KU, K-State, Wichita State, and Fort Hays. And according to Google, I don't know if that's the official poll or not, but the graduation rate for Fort Hays was the highest out of all the 4 colleges in the state by over 10% graduation rate, I believe. So
Probably the
that says a
cheapest
lot.
tuition by that much also.
Best deal for tuition, that's for sure. Affordable and success.
Great.
Great.
Keep up the good work.
It's a good combination.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next agenda item is our Northwest Business Corridor. Brendan?
Good evening, Commissioners. Brendan McKay, Ellis County Public Works Director. So a few years ago, the county noticed a need for an improved access along the 183 bypass. Currently, none exists, so the county reached out, was able to get build grant funding in order to complete this project. Basically, there'll be a completion of 183 bypass all the way back to 183 north of I-70. We're in the home stretch of it. This will be the last time I need to come before you, barring any unforeseen circumstances, to ask if this is still the direction the commission wants to go. On the 22nd, KDOT opened bids. We had 2 bids for this project. The low bid was ended up being, for the county share, $3.39 million. It was about $9.2 million and some change. The other bid was $9.8 million and some change. So the winning bidder was Wildcat Construction, based out of Wichita. They've done a lot of bridge projects and rehabilitation projects and a lot of concrete work, and they're part of the Rogers Group. which is a large agglomeration of construction companies. So they're the prime. We don't know who any of the subs are. But if the commission would, KDOT will review the bids, and if something is not matching up, they'll come back and we'll redo this. But so far, everything we've heard, everything quantities match.
And so if we sign this tonight, and then what's the process? What are the next steps to get this project going?
We take a step back and KDOT manages the entire project.
When would be the start date for the project?
Early start is this November or December.
Okay,
They'll do off-access work, and then come springtime, I believe it's in March, is when on-alignment work can be done, which is the 230th and Feedlot Road work. The whole project's expected to be complete by the end of next year.
ah, that's good. Yeah.
So.
Commissioners, you have any questions for Brendan?
Do not, looks good.
Well, I think we need to proceed. Do I hear a motion for this?
I'll make a motion. I move to approve and sign the authority to award contract for project 026C-5035-01, build -C 501, and submit county's matching funds to KDOT.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. Okay, the next item is the Saline River Road Bridge. Brendan?
I hate to ask for more money, but here we are. So Thursday evening, afternoon, got a call about a bridge failure. Definitely not expecting this bridge. It's built in 1960, but all reports had shown, even the most recent inspection, showed that there was no major structural defects with it, but it failed sometime, possibly on Thursday or shortly before then. I don't imagine much traffic went over it after it did fail, because you could see the whole structure move. So if you have the photos, Darren. Basically, you can kind of see in the left-hand side of your picture how there's a little bow in the deck. That part of the bridge dropped 6 to 8 inches.
Oh, wow.
So in turn, it actually raised the east side of the bridge up 2 to 3 inches. It caused the whole thing to sway. So what caused that, what it looks like, if you want to go to the next one, Darren. So there's a better angle of it. You can see my workers down below taking a look at it, but that sway right there in that section of it. That pier that they're standing in front of is what failed. If we go to the next one, so that's it from the far outside. So about 2 feet above the flow line, you can see there that H pile is bent inwards. That's most likely from a debris impact. There's a lot of big debris that comes down through there. This channel has shifted over time. It used to run more to the east underneath where all that debris is settling now. And in the past 5-10 years, it's moved to the west and cutting into the west embankment. That's why there's all that large rock there and rubble to try and protect that bank. So that piling being bent inward weakened the steel, and that's a heavily trafficked road. It's one of the prime arteries for northeast Ellis County, and it's majorly used for the oil field traffic. So with that weakened piece, just with enough heavy loads on it, over time it will fail. It actually didn't rust out. What happened was it buckled, and then it sheared itself off, and that caused the whole pier to collapse. And there's a few closer pictures. You can kind of see how it banana peeled. One side most likely tore, and then in quick succession, the other side tore, and it collapsed. It's sunk quite a bit. Well, because this is the other side angle of it, and you can see exactly how it buckled in on itself and sheared off. Because you shouldn't be able to see daylight in this picture or the one behind. If you want to go to the 5th picture.
Should be the 5th one there.
Okay. So you can see those dark areas. That's actually where it's looking through at the muck pile behind it. There should be metal there, and there isn't. It sheared away and buckled in on itself. So we called out, closed the bridge Thursday night as soon as this was noticed. Friday morning, Penco Engineering came out to do a special inspection. It was determined there's no saving it at this point. It's going to need an entire new structure. So we've also placed dirt loads on either side of the bridge. because we all know barricades only stop someone for so long, especially when the detour is about 6 miles either way they go. If they go to the north, they're going over a 3-ton limit bridge, which some do already as it is, but I hope they wouldn't. But it's about a 6-mile detour either way. It's vital for that part of our county. Talking with Penco, KDOT puts on their website a list of basic bridge plans and bridge specs, so that way counties can facilitate building their own structures, and it gives a starting point for counties to look at. This is one that's been slightly adapted that Penco has used. It's 180 feet. The current bridge is about 160 feet. The reason for going wider is our current channel opening width is about 60 feet. This one has a 72-foot opening. So hopefully it wouldn't catch as much debris as it does, our current. But it's going to sit on a skew just like this one will, because the channel doesn't hit it straight on. Looking at the area as well, putting a shoe fly in is not very feasible. There's a lot of utilities on either side of the road. We've got a massive hill to contend with either way we go, and a lot of trees, and it's going to take a good month if that's the direction we want to go, if we can even get the materials. Bridge 460, which is about 2.5-3 miles to the east of here, failed in a similar fashion a few years back. That one actually, the piling rusted out, because who would have thought the Saline River has salt in it? And that they were able to put a shoe fly in there because the slopes were a lot kinder to that, but that required 9 to 10 6-foot culverts for a 2-year flood event and 7 10-foot culverts for a 5-year storm event. 2 and 5 years are a little bit misleading because those storms are happening more and more frequently. We experienced it a lot this spring with all the heavy flooding we had. Some of those were only supposed to be 30-year storms, and we're getting it every other month, it seemed like. So we're getting heavier flows of rain more often and more frequently. So putting a shoe fly in would take around $200,000 to $250,000, including all material and labor. And then we still have a broken bridge we have to contend with. Bridge like this can be built in about 4 to 5 months. With that being said, it's going to raise the price up because contractors' books are pretty well full. So in order to entice them to do it, they're going to want more for it. And it'll be $800,000 or so, current estimates. If we give the contractor more time to do a repair or to do a replacement structure, it could drop down closer to the $600,000 figure. But either way, it's quite a large expense. And Penco has said that they're willing to take this down and step right up if that's the direction you guys wish to go. I spoke with KDOT as well on Friday. There's currently no grants from KDOT that could help assist with this cost. They said here within hopefully the next week or so, if that infrastructure bill passes in the federal government, they may have something then, keyword being may. But the quickest way to get this road back open for the businesses and the locals in our county would be to self-fund it. As unfortunate as that is to say, because this wasn't one of the bridges it wasn't even on the maintenance list for any deck or any repair on it. It happened.
Okay. Darren, what's the easiest way to fund this bridge?
We have a fire department boot block and go out to Walmart.
So
Brendan and I have talked about it. We have Fund 78. Obviously, next year we're looking into a larger, we started the new bridge fund, which we're transferring in $400,000. However, we need to start obviously getting on this quicker. We took the $5.4 million in the GEO bonds that we had set aside, and we've also been saving money for the last couple of years, not doing some cold in place recycling work that we were going to help also pay for Northwest Business Corridor project. Now that that's coming in, the only other large project that we have on the books that we're waiting on is the Cathedral Road. However, we've held off on the Saline River, the other asphalt pavings. There would be sufficient funding in Fund 78 for that, with some help to boost that back up next year with the transfer. However, eventually we'll need to get that new bridge fund This is just a very, I think I mentioned to each one of you today, this is a very perfect example of why we need to start focusing back on returning deposits into capital, so that way when a bridge like this does fail, we have money sitting there ready, paying for cash, and we're not looking for ways to fund projects like this.
The hope would be this wouldn't happen ever again, but things happen. The ideal situation would be to catch these issues before something like this happens. And this was relatively freak occurrence because it just passed an inspection. I looked through the inspection photos. That H pile was not bent in that when it was inspected in the tail end of 2020. So it's happened sometime that happened from the last inspection to Thursday afternoon when we got a call.
Mhm. Commissioners, any comments?
I mean, I think we need to move forward on it, at least get it engineered, and I mean, we can start soliciting bids, I would think, find out when contractors could do it. It may be 5-6 months away, we don't know. I mean, but until we put it out for bid, we don't know when they could start.
And part of it putting out to bid, we would have the time frame we would want established in it. So if we want it done in, say, 6 months, we'll be paying a premium price for that, but say we want it done in 10 months, we could potentially get a reduction in cost because they can plan it around with their other projects better.
I think if we put it out for bid, I think that'll kind of set the tone when they could get to it. If we just have it out there for bid, you know, say, what is your time frame? We may have somebody bid on it that's finishing up a project in January that could start on it. I
Okay.
don't know.
Because generally in your bid specs, you include by date. So what do we want the conclude by date to be? Do we want it 6 months from today and reach out? And if we don't receive any bids or they're way above where they're currently estimated at, we reassess? Would that be fair?
That would be one way to do it. You could always see what comes in,
Yeah,
and if we think it's too much, then we could just change the date.
yes.
and-
But we would need a completion date. The project would need to be completed by in the bid
Sure.
specs.
Could we write the specs as saying option 1 and option 2, one within 6 months, one within 10 months?
We probably could.
And then we could look at all the 6-month proposals and see where we're at and compare to the 10-month, and then make a better decision financially on if we want to spend X amount more dollars to bump it up a couple months.
Yep, and I can talk with Penco about that if that's
Mhm.
direction the commission's wishing.
I think that would be one of the best ways to go, to get many comparatives as we could.
Yeah, in that situation, like say, shoe fly is not gonna work on that hillside.
No.
So,
It- For what it would take, in the time frame it would take to do it,
Yep.
we would be spending $250,000 very easily on it. But we still have a bridge that needs to be replaced.
There's a lot of people that go fishing right there too on the south part of that bridge.
Because the channel's switched, so it does a nice little swirl, and there's a nice deep pool in that corner. So if you need a new fishing spot, Butch,
Well,
bridge is closed, you can walk up to it.
I never go to the river, so.
So on the south side of detour, how far south would you have to go to detour?
Severn Road,
You have to go clear to Severn to get back around?
Yep.
Is that
It's
right?
all through that open range.
yeah, Severn, or take that
Through the open range?
7, or take Hadley Road, or the Hadley Open Range down to Severn,
Yeah.
or take 183 back to Severn for the trucks that are coming across and from out of Rooks County.
Or if you go north, what, 2 miles and back? 2
Wiles and Mendota,
Yeah, and back to the west,
yeah.
back south.
But if they go to the north, there's a 3-ton limit bridge there,
I'd say that small one's there.
unfortunately. So I'm sure that bridge is overloaded. I hope it wouldn't be, but
Sure, it's overloaded every day.
I didn't hear that.
Think about it, a 3-ton bridge. I mean,
Yeah,
I pick up Neil's pickup weights.
Yeah.
yeah.
You know,
The 1/2-ton with
yeah.
one driver in it is almost 3 tons, if not over. But you've got a paper clip in your binder? Do you have a paper clip in your binder?
Yeah.
You want to pull it out and straighten it out for me?
Would it be worthwhile to put additional signage up on that other bridge just to give them a heads up before they turn down the road?
So that we talked about? So we talked about putting additional signage on the detour to the north. We thought that would add too much confusion to everything, that other local traffic would think that it's 3 tons, only 3-ton loads can go across that road. There's signage at the bridge. If someone's gonna go across it, they're gonna go across it. But this is our 3-ton limit bridge. This is the first time someone goes across it overloaded. It still looks like a bridge, doesn't it? And this is exaggerated, of course. It does this on a small micro level. This is the second time. Still looks like a bridge. But it's discolored now where I bent it. Third time, we're getting closer. Usually this happens in 3 or 4 times. I hope it doesn't take longer.
Bobby ordered
We
good
spent-
paper clips this time.
You spend extra money on those.
This is our bridge. This is the bridge the 4th time it's overloaded. Do we see a problem with it? It's why I hope it happens on a micro level. Steel moves. Doesn't matter how much you enforce it, it moves. That's part of why we do the load rating. And it's restricted based on axles and number of axles, because the axles carry the weight differently. That's why some bridges are 30 tons for a semi-truck, but only 10 tons for a grain truck. It's the number of axles and how that weight's distributed. So when people go over it overloaded, they think, well, it's fine. But they just did this. They probably made it off this bridge. But the mail carrier, the school bus behind them, this bridge may be looking like it's back together, but another vehicle goes across it, that's when it goes through. That's why I hope people don't go over things overloaded. I know it happens, but hopefully no one gets hurt in this situation when it does happen.
Well, you could go out there every evening just to scold people.
I think they might respond better to Scott back there than they would me.
That is a very long bridge, isn't that bridge only like,
160 feet.
no, the 3-ton bridge?
Oh, it's a small bridge, yes.
Yeah, isn't it like 14, 16 foot? It isn't very big.
It'd be more than 20.
Is it more than 20?
Yeah, because that bridge is 20 feet or greater, greater than 20 feet. I believe
that was a really small one right there. Okay.
Yeah, we've got a few of those low weight restricted bridges left in this county. Hopefully we'll be able to replace them in time.
Okay.
Okay, well, proceed.
All righty.
Get
I'll
some
reach out to
estimates, and we'll go from there.
All righty. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
The next agenda item is the United Way funding allocation. Darren?
As the commission is aware, each year we get county dispersed tax revenue from the sale of alcohol. And each year that we get a request from United Way for that funding, for the amount that we have set aside, and then they just make the best determination from their care council as to who would receive those funds. This year, within your package, you see they made a request, and they would suggest that we split the $9,000 up 50% equally to go to Dream Incorporated, and the other 50% go to Smoky Hill Foundation. And with your permission, we'll create some vouchers and have the clerk's office make those payments.
Okay. And any concerns, commissioners? Questions?
None.
Do I hear a motion?
I move to allow the two $4,500 alcohol tax payments to Dream Incorporated and the Smoky Hill Foundation per the United Way Care Council's request.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion passes 3-0. The next agenda item is the Treasury change of office audit. Darren?
As the commission is aware, the change of office for the county treasurer happens next week. The commission meeting on Monday, the 11th, Bobby will swear in Vern Reuter, the treasurer-elect, to the office to help clean everything up within the bank accounts as well as with the general ledgers, make sure everything reconciles as per all the reports. Adams Brown has offered to do that. That's usually a good practice to proceed with when you do change the office for the Treasury. We did that when Ann Pfeiffer took office as well in the interim between with Josh Walsinger, I believe was his name. And now it's time to move on from Lisa Schlegel on to Vern Reuter. So just wanted to let the commission know that I gave the thumbs up for Adams Brown to proceed with that, and I just wanted to make sure the commission was okay.
Well, I think we should proceed with the audit. It's only fair to the new treasurer coming on to start where the audit says they should start, and to go from there. So I think it's a good idea to do that. Commissioners?
I'm on board with that, too.
Yeah, I think it
Okay.
protects both parties.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And the next item is the Capers 401 Deferred Compensation Agreement. Darren?
Got like 3 or 4 here in a row. As the commission is aware, last month, we reviewed the different options we had for the new 401A retirement contribution match program with our employees. We took all those selections and sent them back to Capers. They filled out the agreement and sent it up to their legal counsel for approval, which in turn, I also sent it to Mr. Jeter for him to review with his approval. The final attached agreement is in your packet for approval, and we'll sign that. We'll send it back off to the state, and within the next month or so, we'll have open enrollment for health insurance and everything. For the different benefits for the county employees, we'll include that in their packet. So if they want to start in January or continue with their current Capers 457 contributors, that option will be there. One point of fact that I did put in there is once we were reviewing the new 401A program, it was found that the payments have to be on the full 26 pay periods for the year and not the 24. Janet and I don't have an explanation as to why that was set up as only being 24 pay periods in years past. It's not a big deal, but we'll correct that come January, so that way they'll get matching contributions all 26 pay periods.
Mm-hmm.
How that impacts the budget is for every employee that does it, they'll get two extra pay periods, they'll get a $30 match, so potential $60, so a total of between $720 bumping up to $780. If we had 100% participation from county employees, then we'd have a little bit of a budget impact, but right now, from where we're at to where we're getting there, I don't think that would stress anybody's budget in the county, nor would it go over what we had set aside for next year. It would be nice to see 100% participation, but I think we all know that it may take a little bit of time for the employees to understand the program and build and sign up to get to it.
Sure. Yeah, I don't see a problem with this. If it's the direction we have to go, why we need to do that. Commissioners' comments, concerns?
I'm in favor. I think it's a good plan.
I am too.
Move
I'll
forward.
just encourage all the employees to get in there and do it. Over a period of time, it'll
Just
make
good
you a
added
nice
bonus.
retirement. Yep.
It's a good added bonus for them, so.
Is there a motion for this?
I'll move a motion to approve resolution 21-19 and the Capers Defined Contribution Plan Agreement. Allow the commission chair to sign both documents.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Did you say aye, Dean?
Yes.
Okay. Motion passes 3-0. The next agenda item is the IRPA funding consultant RFP results. Darren?
This is the first group discussion we get to have about the American Rescue Plan Act funds. As the commission is aware, we've received the first 50% of those funds in late July, I believe, if not early August. And the goal for myself was to get us past the 2022 budget process, and then we could start discussing this. We've sent out an RFP listed on our website and sent it off to about 6 or 8 different firms that were being used around the state. And we actually had somebody that nobody had heard of before send us back a result. We did have 3 results back from our RFP request. And staff and I met together. We rated them, graded them, looked over their proposal, and actually selected one, met with their vice president, and spent a probably good hour on the phone, web call conference with them, going over some different ideas, questions. And we ended up selecting iParametrics. They're out of Georgia. They're working with several counties across the state. And some of those counties are Finney County, Seward County, Wyandotte, and Saline. So they're well versed in Kansas. There's some others, I just don't remember them off the top of my head. They've done some very good projects that I've heard on. The counties that they're in speak well of them as well. Their proposal was a total bid of not to exceed about $201,000. However, that was based on a lot of services that our request for proposal did not include. They are many different options that are out there. However, we might consider some different things after we get them on board and they do some assessments here in Ellis County, that they might be able to get additional funds. One of their examples was outside the ARPA funding, is they worked with Finney County to secure about $1.8 million in additional grants. So we might be able to look at different things there. Two projects that we've kind of had on our list, one recently because Brendan brought it to our attention, was a potential for some grants for CDBG funding may work on that Saline River Road Bridge up there. They'll do some research on that. And then, as the commission is aware, we had CDBG funding last year that Lyle Panel, the emergency manager, managed and distributed throughout the community. They had suggested that we apply for a grant for a fire station over in Ellis, a joint city, county, and EMS facility. They feel that this would be within the scope of their proposal and ARPA funding, so they may be able to assist with that grant proposal and writing it as well, amongst a whole bunch of other ideas. But those would all, before we would commit to anything, obviously we would bring that back to the commission. But I think overall, we felt fairly confident in their services and their abilities, and from the work that they've done around the state already. So what the proposal tonight would be the approval to start the consulting services with iParametrics. I had a PO in your consent agenda for $50,000. Most of the work for the funding, the different projects that we've identified, they feel that this would probably get us through the year 2022. However, we just can't keep an open PO that long. So we'll just see. That price could grow if we start doing a lot of other projects that we are not originally, as we're sitting here today, thinking of. But that'll at least get us through the consulting process. They'd work through the loss of revenue calculations. They'd review our policies. They would review our RFPs, our proposals, our contracts. For instance, I know the commission we're highly concerned about the HVAC system in this building. They would review the proposal, make sure everything within the parameters of the scope of work match, and go with the federal guidance for how you can spend the money, track it, all the documentation from start to end, and then make sure we have all the proper audit documentation for once we have a single audit afterwards. If we don't do anything this year, we won't have an audit for 2021 because we haven't spent in excess of $750,000. But most likely for the next couple of years, we'll have single audits every year in regards to these funds. And hopefully, as Alexis and Melissa stood here a couple weeks ago, they'll be a lot cleaner than they were for 2020. So we're asking that the commission consider.
Well, I definitely think we need to have consultants on board for this. We're going to need guidance and direction as we wade into this thing, because it's a lot of rules and regs regarding this kind of funding with the feds. So, commissioners, any comments, concerns?
I agree with you, Butch. I think we need to have somebody on staff. I didn't think it was going to be quite that expensive, considering Darren and Lyle did a heck of a job in the past. So, but if they come across some more grants and different things, you know, it could be very well worth it on stuff that we normally don't do. So,
Commissioner Younger?
I'm also on board with this. I mean, especially consultant. There's probably things that our employees may miss that these people will catch. That's what their
This is what
profession is, and
it's
I'm
what they
good
do.
with that.
Is there a motion for this?
I move to approve PO number 7602 for iParametrics Disaster Recovery Consulting Services.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0.
And just for clarification on that too, just for any projects that would be included in that ARPA funding. We spent $0 out of it, but anything that would be looked at for approval, we would work with iParametrics to make sure, yes, it's eligible, and then before anything would be approved, everything would come back to the county commission for the final approval to move forward with any expenditure.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe I met with Butch and Neil independently on the projects, and one of these days, Dean and I will find an evening to sit down and visit on them.
Sure.
And like Dean said, that it is a lot of money. It comes at about $3,500 a month for, the 16 months. So that's right enough.
They can find a 50% grant for that bridge up on the Saline River that pays for their services right there.
Yes.
Or a fire station, that CDBG grant that they were advising us to apply for is the top matching that they would go with it is $600,000.
Mm-hmm.
Could be a big benefit.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, yep.
Okay. Our next agenda item is the property search for the Public Works Building. Darren?
As the commission is aware, we've had last month or 2 months ago, we had a short executive session and talking about starting to look for land for the public workshop. We felt at that point it was, and then speaking with Mr. Jeter in regards to some different land that are out there for sale, that we would start to announce the county's intention that we're looking for about 50 to 60 acres of land. So that way the general public, the realtors, anybody that has land for sale has the option to contact us. So that way when we do make a selection, we have full community input and availability to reach out to us. If the commission is acceptable to it, I'll write up a press release later this week and send it out. So that way I can get it to Jonathan at Hayes Post and Hayes Daily's News as well. Try to get a story out there so maybe we reach some more people. Just because there's some land out there that's not on the books for the realtors may not mean that somebody's be interested to sell that nobody knows about. And then start working through that process, identifying some land, and if the commission is okay, I can put out an RFP for engineering services for a new shop, at least to get us started in this interim couple months, and kind of get some concepts going, which is the easy part of it. And then once we have some land picked out, depending on where we build at, the final drawings will have to be built to that, whether it's built on rock or needs to be elevated, etc. I think that was about it. But as the commission is aware, the land that we have out there now is in a pie-shaped slice. We're landlocked to the north and to the south. We've reached out to the Union Pacific to try to lease the land that's being cultivated now just between us and the railroad tracks. They offered us a yearly lease starting at $7,500 a year with a 7% or an 8% per year increase. That's on an annual lease. So within 10, 20 years, we could basically find land elsewhere and have it paid for the amount that we're leasing here, and we still don't have half the amount of land that we need to properly grow and spread out and have a good public works yard, lay down yard for rock, sand, culverts, equipment, etc. So we're trying to do our due diligence and show the community that we're trying to get the best option for the public workshop out there.
Absolutely. And if we want to proceed with this, we're going to need land, and we need to be as transparent as we can. So those things do need to get out there. Commissioners, any comments or concerns?
Are we going to try to stay or big try to stay in the center of Ellis County? Or, what are we going to set our limits to as far as?
The goal, and I don't know if Brenda wants to speak anything more, but as central to the city of Hayes as we can. On the exact perimeter, obviously the city of Hayes doesn't have anything 50 to 60 acres within the city limits, so it would be right outside the city limits is where we would have to be on a good decent road that they can still travel without tearing it up on.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, so the idea would be to stay central located because the way our routes currently work, we have 2 routes out of our shop. Gives them a place to tie up and allows us to, all of our culverts are centrally located so we don't have the excess travel time if we're on one end of the county or the other end. Same thing with hauling material to the shop for stockpiling purposes like sand, the rock, salt sand. It allows us to get to everywhere in the same amount of time and be able to be efficient with our operation and equally serve all the residents of Ellis County. Whether that's removing snow, salt and sanding roads, doing bridge repair work, and road repairs. But that would be our ideal location, would be somewhere centrally located. So, thank you.
Answer your question, Neil?
That works.
Okay. Well, I think you should proceed, Darren.
Okay. I'll send out a press release later this year and contact some realtors and make sure that they're aware of it, and we'll see where we're going. We do have a couple leads that we're trying to work on, and now that the commission has given us direction, we'll start to discuss it more.
Sounds like a plan. Okay, County Administrator report.
One last thing, then I'll be quiet.
Okay.
As the commission is aware from a separate email that I'd sent out on October the 18th, we have a regularly scheduled commission meeting, but several of us will be at the KAC conference. So we can't technically completely eliminate that commission meeting because that following day, the vouchers checks are being sent out for vouchers. So I was asking if the commission would be open to meet on the Friday before, on October the 15th. It'll probably be a 2-minute meeting, open a special meeting, and approve the consent agenda for the payment of vouchers. And so that way they can all be paid that following Tuesday while you're at conference.
I'm okay with it.
I'm fine with it. What time do you want to do it?
I'm here all day, so it's what time I can get the three of you, or at least two of you here.
It's probably up to Neil. Butch is pretty flexible. I can be pretty flexible.
Let me make sure
I'm
I
flexible enough.
don't have anything scheduled here.
I'd say 7 a.m.
What are we going to do?
What time do you want to do
Probably gets here about 6:30.
it? You-
That's why I said that.
I can be here at 4:00 a.m.
You want to do it in the morning?
It's up to you guys too. I can
Ian,
do
what's-
morning, I can
How
do,
about 7:30?
7:30?
Okay, Bobby?
is that all right?
Yeah. I'm
Darren?
by then.
Okay.
And like I say, it'll take less than 5 minutes and then I think Bobby mentioned the canvas, but I think you got that squared away.
Yes.
Okay.
On November 15th.
That's easy enough to do.
We'll send out a quick press release that the October 18th meeting will be canceled, and then we'll have a special meeting agenda made earlier that week for the Friday, October the 15th at 7:30 a.m.
Okay. Sounds like a plan.
Okay, that's all I got.
Okay, County Commission reports. Commissioner Younger.
First of all, I finally made a Grow Haze meeting, Sarah. Thank you for being here. It's exciting, a lot of stuff coming. There's a lot of good discussion at noon. And I also went to an Ellis City meeting. And also went to another city meeting on the exit 157 for the new halfway roundabout, I guess I'm going to call it, or bypass. And I was also at the Oktoberfest. Was there for the opening ceremony along with Dean, and then I worked the booth at our Munger Nights of Columbus. A lot of people. Very, very good turnout. Beautiful day we had. Great thing for our whole community. And as I was going through the APL 40 report, it's just amazing how many volunteers we have in this community that help out with the fires and whatnot. And plus, all our county employees are doing an excellent job. We have a lot of good talent. I don't know if the public knows that, but they do now. So that's all I have.
Okay. Commissioner Hazelwood.
Kind of the same as Neil. I went to the city meeting and very interesting on that. And then there's another one coming up
The 6th, October 6th at 9:30.
9:30 in the morning at the city again. I plan on attending that if I'm back in time, so, went to Oktoberfest, gave the welcome from the county, introduced Neil up on stage also, got him to wave to the public, so, didn't embarrass him too much.
That's good.
Got him a little
He
bit.
he embarrasses easy.
I didn't have him turn him beat red yet, anyway. I did make him step up and wave.
You know,
Working on our KAC meeting for here in 2 weeks. Lots of things going on there. So we have a board conference call. I think that's Friday also. So anyway, so working on that and things are coming together. I got a record number of vendors attending that. So that's really exciting. So it's I think it's going to be a good conference for all. Lots of good speakers.
Okay.
I did actually get Dean to sit in the front row at the city meeting, so
Yeah.
city commissioners are all happy, so.
Yeah, we're sitting there in the back and right away.
I tried to get him to move up on his own, but then some family come in, so we were in the front.
Front row.
Yep,
Thank you, Neil.
you're welcome.
And I have no report tonight. So no executive sessions. If there's no further business, we will close the meeting at 5:55 PM.
Please.